Good morning. I was trying to see if my plate was dry. It's not, so I didn't do a very good job of drying it off after I washed it. So, what am I doing today? Well, I've got a loaf of bread, I've got 5 eggs, and we've been talking a lot about puddings. Kind of very traditional puddings, not the chocolate, not the vanilla. Very traditional puddings. And I happen to have a loaf of bread that I screwed up with. I cooked this for something, probably the beef stroganoff, and it sat in the fridge for 4 days. Then, just as it is, I stuck this in the freezer. Now, yesterday I was going to make some spaghetti with some garlic bread using this bread. Well, lo and behold, I could not get the knife through it. It had frozen so solidly that I could not cut it. So I screwed up. So, I ended up having to leave it on the lower table overnight, and it's soft now. But it's also now old bread because I just, through my own folly and not having anything to eat it with, I just haven't done anything with it. Well, what do you do with bread that you need to use up? You turn it into bread pudding. So here's this bread. It is still not moldy, so I can use it for bread pudding. And I will show you my bread pudding recipe. It is aptly called Grandma's Bread Pudding. And it needs a day-old challah bread, or you can use my homemade bread, a cup of sugar, 4 cups of milk, some vanilla, nutmeg, and cinnamon. The expensive part about this is the 5 eggs. So this recipe isn't as affordable as it used to be. Used to be you could get eggs for between 69 and 99 cents, maybe $1.50. The eggs in my area are between $8 and $13. It's ridiculous. So we're paying pretty close to $1 an egg around here, which is stupid. But we're also going to put this in the bread machine. And you might be thinking, Stacy, you can't do bread pudding in a bread machine. Bread pudding doesn't mix. So there's no need for me to put the beater bar in the bread machine, so it's not in there. Okay? But I can bake using the bread machine. And that's all I need this to do is bake. So I'm going to cube this up. I'm starting with the back because if I have any bread left over that doesn't fit, I'm going to make French toast for lunch. I got to use this bread. It's been sitting around doing nothing for too long, which is a good way to use up bread. The problem is that the eggs these days are really, really expensive. So instead of this being a really cheap dessert, depending on where you get your eggs, this is kind of a pricey dessert. Luckily, I get my eggs for free, and I found out the other day that the food pantry gets their eggs for, I think she said $3.99. And honestly, if I could get eggs at $3.99 a dozen, I would be able to afford my own eggs. At this point, it's been a weird start to the year. I've been really, really busy. It's Friday morning, and normally I would have today off because I want to work Monday through Thursday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday to recover. That's for my brain, folks. My brain needs time to recover. So, cut that off of there and put this in. So, I had to work this morning, which is fine. I am grateful for the work because it's going to allow me to keep the gas on. My electric got caught up from last month's stuff, so that's good. And, you know, it's really been an incredibly busy start to the year. I'm very, very surprised because it's been a struggle ever since they came out with AI. And it seems like more and more clients are coming back. And honestly, I've used AI. I've used it to write articles for myself, for my own website, because with everything I'm doing, I don't have a lot of time to screw with it. But what I find is, fussing with AI, it takes me just about as long to fuss with that AI as it does for me to write the article from scratch. So it doesn't really save me much in the way of time if I want a good quality article. If I don't care, then, you know, it saves me a whole lot of time. But most companies are going to care about the quality of the content that they are putting out. And the other problem is that AI does not extrapolate information. If you're looking at A and B, AI is going to talk about A and B. But your brain as a human, you might see a C. So you're going to talk about A, B, and the extrapolated C. AI does not do that. I just dropped the bread chunk. That's okay. Hey, I think all of this bread's going to fit in here. This means I need to find a new lunch. And it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock. So technically I skipped lunch, which is fine. I need to lose some weight in a major way. And find another lunch. Or dinner. It'll be dinner, actually. It's looking pretty good. Kind of impressed. This is actually the perfect consistency. It's not too hard and it's not too soft. This is incredible. All right. Well, now I'm wondering if it's going to be enough. And it doesn't matter if while you're cutting your bread you accidentally tear it. It's bread pudding. All right, I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't know what I'm eating for dinner now because it'll have to be something on the stove because this is going to take up the slot for the bread machine. I don't know what I'm doing. I could make chili, but I think it's going to take too long. I wonder if I could fire up the... I wonder if I've got anything to deep fry. Oh, that's full. Haha. All right, this is super full. All right, let's take a look at it. This is super, super full. So that's pretty perfect. So that looks really, really good. It only gets baked. It does not get stirred. So let's see how I put the rest of this together. Because cubing the bread was the easy part. So let's see how they're putting it together. Mix the eggs, sugar, milk, and vanilla nutmeg and pour it over the bread. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to use my pan. All right, the pan, if it's not clean, I don't know what to say. I've washed it about 45 times. 5 large eggs, which I have, and they need to be lightly beaten. Can't believe I ended up with 5 large eggs. It took forever to find 5 large eggs, but I got them. I need to lightly beat these 5 eggs. It ended up being 3 eggs from last week and 2 from this week, which was 3 brown eggs and 2 white eggs. Glad I got the eggs for this week. I knew I was going to make bread pudding this week. Otherwise, I would have told her to save them for somebody else. Because I'm nice like that. But I actually needed the eggs because I'm also feeling like a little bit of French toast too. If I can find some more bread. But, all right, so let's take it over here. No, no, no. My fork, as always, wants to fall into the egg mixture. So, I need ounces. And I need... Boy, I wish this fork could behave. I have no place else to put it. So, we're going to do eggs. It's got nutmeg. And you guys all know I love cinnamon and nutmeg because I put enough of it in my rice. So, cinnamon... Or actually, this is nutmeg. Plenty of nutmeg. Plenty of cinnamon. And I'm going to do the rest of the vanilla that is in this container. Thankfully, I bought a new one last week. So there's the vanilla. And we need, I think it's, a cup of granulated sugar. I almost forgot the sugar. That would have sucked. So I need to tare this. And I need to add 8 ounces of sugar. Thankfully, I had an extra sugar. Because the food pantry did not give me my sugar this month. Alright, there is a cup of sugar. Or 8 ounces. I don't know what I'd do without the food pantry. They save me a fortune in money. Let me taste this one. This is the new milk that I got this week. Yeah, it's fine. I always taste it just because you never know. Alright, so I need, let's see, how much milk do I need? Oh crap, 4 cups of milk. Was not expecting that one. Well, let's see here, I'm gonna tear this out. One cup is 240 milliliters. So let's change my thing and we'll do 240 milliliters. All right, that's exactly 240 milliliters. So this is 1 cup. Let's stir this up a little bit. 1 cup. And we'll do another 240 milliliters for 2 cups. That was 274, so. And let's see. And really, you're just stirring this stuff up until it is fully combined. So, that's all that's going to fit in this pan. So any other milk that I add is going to be a little bit difficult. So we want to fully combine this. It might take a minute. Kind of getting there. It's taking a minute. Alright, so I'm going to dump part of this in the container and hopefully not make a mess. Alright, and I'm going to add another 240 milliliters. Or 200 actually. Another 200. And I'm going to stir it. I'm going to pour it in. And I'm definitely going to need the last cup. Boy, that was a little more milk than I wanted to put into it, but it has to be fully covered or it is not going to work out well. Alright, so I'm going to stir this around just a little bit. Make sure all of the pieces are coated. Alright, that's going to have to be it. So let me show it to you. There it is, and now I'm just going to put it in the bread machine to bake. I need to find my book because I forget what the baking number is. Figure out what the number is. I finally found it. It was under a bunch of beads. Bake is number 12, and it will bake for 1 hour. It'll also keep it warm. So, let me do that. This takes the toaster oven out of commission. All this does is bake. So, alright, it'll bake for an hour, and if I don't like it, I can set it to bake for another hour and then watch it. But here it is. Baking for an hour, and this is what it looks like in there. So it's going to make quite a bit of bread pudding. But anyway, I'm going to let that bake, and when it's done, I'll be back. Oh my gosh, so I am going to call this the incredible shrinking bread pudding. When I stopped the heat on it and opened the thing for it to cool, it was bubbling at the top of the bread pan. And it looked amazing. But it's been about 30 minutes or so, and it has shrunk down. Oh my goodness. It's also getting late in the day, so I had to take a shower. But it smells great, and it's still warm, but it was way up here like it was going to bubble over. And now it's shrunk back down. I ended up, I guess I should start at the beginning. A few years ago, I tried to make a bread pudding in that bread machine. And it failed miserably. I think I ate some of it, but it really wasn't any good. I certainly didn't eat the whole thing. And it just wasn't any good. I didn't like it at all. And this one is probably not the same recipe that I used when I first got the bread machine. I'm sure it's a different recipe. But on that one, it was dry, and it didn't bread pudding. Like this one is coming apart in chunks. The other one didn't. The bread cubes were still pretty independent, we'll say. So for this one, I made sure that I had plenty of the custard in there. And when I opened it the first time, after 60 minutes, I didn't like it because it was still really, really liquidy. So I put it in again for another 60 minutes. And I left it that way. And probably I didn't need to do that, but I was busy with some other stuff. I checked it like 25 minutes after I started it, and it still could have used more time. I probably could have taken it out, or at least stopped the baking, maybe 35, 40 minutes into it, so I would have needed an hour and 40 minutes. So this probably got overdone by a good 20 minutes, but let's taste it and see if it's any good. You know, I think it could use some of that vanilla sauce that some bread puddings call for. But to be honest, it's pretty good. Yeah, it could use some kind of icing or topping, but all in all, this is better than the one I made a few years ago. Yep, I like that quite a bit. Could almost use more sugar, too. I don't know, I think a glaze would help it a great deal. But anyway, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.